The Civil War,
filled with death, devastation, and cruel acts of injustice.
There were many aspects of this war,
but we're only going to talk about a couple of things: economy, battle, and Reconstruction after war. In
Amira!
Laura!
Amira!
Laura!
Amira and Laura, the Social Studies girls!
Yeah!
The economy of both the Confederacy and the Union played on an important part of why these parts of the United States split in the first place.
Leading up to the Civil War, the North and South economies grew apart. Let's pretend that Laura is the North and I am the Confederacy.
Hi, I'm Ulysses S. Grant, the General of the Union, and today I will tell you about our economy during the war. During the war, the North had a much better economy than the South. The North had the majority of industrial manufacturing. The Midwest and Northeast were the most industrialized areas of the country, and those factories quickly turned to making war supplies that kept the massive Union armies relatively well equipped. In addition to having a population that was more than twice of that of the South, the North had enough money to food all of its people. The North enjoyed 69% of all the railroad capacity, compared to only 39% in the South. Despite these advantages, our government needed money. First, it issued a massive bond measure in which citizens and financial institutions were asked to buy bonds and to fund the war. When our federal government introduced the first income tax in 1862 and the Bureau of Internal Revenue, later known as the IRS, was established. All of this worked relatively well, and the Union dealt a rate of inflation that never topped 80% a year, while the South suffered a rate that reached 9,000. By the end of the war, the North will prevail.
Hi, I'm Robert Lee, the General of the Confederacy, and now I'll tell you about our economy. With the loss of its cotton exports, the South was in big trouble. It had lost its banking system, which had been in the headquarters of New York. The Confederacy had no money, so it did the only thing that it could cook. It printed money. Lots and lots of money. With so many men fighting in the war, much of the southern agricultural land was left insufficiently farmed. The South then could not manage to feed all of its people. And by the end, parts of the South suffered from starvation. Arms and ammunition were also in short supply in the South. Men had to bring their own guns. Soldiers also lacked simple necessities such as shoes. In the end, we lost the war primarily because we ran out of men, money, and supplies. The South would prevail.
The Battle of Chancellorsville was a battle of the Civil War. The battle started by the Union crossing the Rappahannock River. Joseph Hooker led the Northern Army, and Robert E. Lee led the Southern Army. Hooker's army rested in Chancellorsville after what has been, by historians, to be executing them both. Battle.
When the Confederates got to Chancellorsville, General Hooker expected Lee to retreat because the North had outnumbered the South, 115,000 troops to 60,000 troops. Although the Confederates were outnumbered, they drove the Federal army from the battlefield. The Confederates had 14,000 casualties, while they caused 17,000 casualties. It was a great battle for the South, because they won, but it was not so good for General Lee's right arm, Stonewall Jackson, because he died from pneumonia on May 10th while recuperating from his wounds of being shot by his own men. This battle went down in history for being General Lee's greatest victory.
Victory! Victory is ours!
Hurrah! Another important battle of the Civil War was the Battle of the Crater.
There are many names for this battle. Just one of them was the mine, because the Northerners exploded a Southern mine, hence the crater that was a result of the explosion.
After the explosion, Southerners came in quickly and fought.
This was one of the battles of the Siege of Petersburg.
Northerner Ambrose E. Burnside fought on the north side, and Confederate Robert Lee fought on the south.
This battle took place on July 30th, 1864, and there were 5,300 casualties. Ow! What was that for?
Why are you guys in the hot tub?
You're right. The Civil War wasn't fought in a warm, nice, hot tub. It was fought in the cold. What? Into the woods without delay, be careful not to lose the way. Into the woods, into the woods, into the woods!
The time of Reconstruction can be said as the warm ashes left over by the flames.
It was people revolting, reflecting, and of course, reconstructing. A more modern-day example is the post-Katrina cleanup, where thousands of people came out, and charged outrageous prices for their services.
Many events in this era were the Ku Klux Klan and the Jim Crow laws.
Today, we will only enlighten you on the Ku Klux Klan
and the term carpetbaggers. The Ku Klux Klan was a loosely organized group of political and social terrorists.
Their main goal was to defeat the Republican Party and make sure slavery was still legal.
They wanted white supremacy, so they threatened blacks with violence.
The KKK was formed as a social group in Tennessee in 1866. The name probably came from the Greek word kuklos, meaning circle.
Klan was an alternative version of Klan with a C. Thus, Ku Klux Klan suggested a circle or a band of brothers.
A big event during the time of Reconstruction was on March 31st, 1868, when Republican organizer George Ashford was murdered in Columbus, Georgia by the KKK.
Most of the Klan action was designed to intimidate black voters and white supporters of the Republican Party.
Their actions clearly continued throughout 1869 and 1870. After Democratic triumph in the state elections of 1870 and aggressive federal intervention in 1871 and 1872, the formal Klan organization began to fade away.
Carpetbaggers was a term used for Northerners who went to the Southern land during the Reconstruction period. During this period, many people from the northern states went to the South because it was so poor that there were so many opportunities for a person to make little money.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. What does traveling have to do with carpet?
Well, with the rapid expansion of railroads in the 1840s and 1850s, there was a lot of traveling going on.
I still don't get it!
There was a need for cheap luggage, so thousands of carpet bags were manufactured.
Wait, so they were just suitcases made out of old carpets?
Basically, and they were sold very cheaply, around $1 to $2 each.
What does that have to do with the Civil War at all? And if that's a carpet bag, what's a carpet bagger?
Well, when you traveled during the Civil War and through the 1870s, you packed your carpet bag. This just became a way to identify an outsider.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
See you next time on...
Amira!
Laura!
Amira!
Laura! Amira and Laura, the Social Studies girls. Yeah.